You ever notice how sometimes she doesn't say a single word, but somehow you just know something's different? Like that moment she brushed past you, her shoulder grazing yours, almost like it wasn't an accident. Your brain screaming, was that on purpose? But then she doesn't even look back. And you convince yourself it was nothing. But here's the brutal truth. Most guys miss the silent signs of female attraction because they're not loud. They're quiet, subtle, hidden in glances, gestures, and those fleeting seconds of connection that vanish before you even process them. Ever wondered how many moments you've already missed? Comment the last time you thought a girl was flirting, but you weren't sure. And stay till the end, because the final sign flips everything you thought you knew. You ever catch her looking at you, and then she looks away so fast it makes you doubt it even happened? Like maybe it was just your imagination, right? Maybe she was looking past you, or zoning out, or who knows, maybe she saw something else that caught her attention. That's what you tell yourself, because it's easier to believe it was random than to accept the possibility that her glance meant something, that you made her pause. That for a split second, you were the most interesting thing in the room. You're sitting at a coffee shop, lost in thought, and you feel it, that strange weight of someone watching. You look up. There she is. Blonde hair pulled back, a book in her hands. But she's not reading. She's watching you for a second too long. Then, like clockwork, her eyes snap away, straight back to the page. No smile, no wave, nothing to confirm what you just felt. So naturally, you doubt it. You sip your drink and convince yourself it was just a coincidence. But it wasn't, because here's what's really happening when a woman glances like that. She's testing the moment, floating a silent question into the air. Do you notice me? And if you do you have the confidence to look back? It's a game of emotional poker. Her glance is the ante. Your response? That's the tell. Most guys don't see it. Or worse, they see it and shut it down. They assume they're reading too much into it, when in reality, that look was deliberate, quiet, primal. She wanted to see if her presence had any effect on you. And if your eyes dart away nervously, or you pretend not to notice, that's your answer. Now imagine this. You catch her looking, and instead of looking away, you hold it, just for a moment. Not in a creepy, intense way, but with calm confidence. You meet her eyes, just long enough to acknowledge it. Maybe even crack a small smile. That's it. No words, no movement, just a glance returned. With presence, thought next time you catch her looking more than once, don't ignore it. That glance was her version of a handshake. You're not imagining things. You're just finally seeing the truth beneath the silence. There's something you probably never paid much attention to. Not because it didn't happen, but because it felt too subtle to mean anything. You're at a party, music playing, conversations floating in every direction, and somehow she ends up next to you. Not right away, but slowly. First, she's across the room, then by the drinks. Then, without really saying much, she's sliding onto the couch next to you. Close. So close that your legs almost touch. But here's the part that throws you off. She doesn't even look at you. She starts chatting with a friend. Or scrolling her phone. Like you're not even there. You tell yourself it's just a full couch. Or maybe she didn't even realize how close she was sitting. But deep down, something feels intentional. And you'd be right, because what most guys miss is this. Women flirt with space. They use proximity the way we use words. They close the gap not with conversation, but with presence. If she's finding ways to end up near you, especially when she doesn't need to be, it's not by accident. It's a signal, a soft one, but a real one. There was this guy, Aaron, kind of low-key. Not the loudest in the room, but he had presence. And every time his group of friends got together, he noticed something strange. This one girl, Emma, always seemed to end up next to him. On the subway, in the restaurant booth, during after-dinner drinks. Always by chance. At first, he thought nothing of it. But then he started noticing the pattern. How she'd slide into the empty seat beside him, even when there were others. How her arm would brush his when she laughed. How she leaned in slightly more than necessary during small talk. That wasn't random. That was design. Proximity is a way to build tension without words. To see how you'll react. Will you lean in too? Will you shrink away? Will you hold the space confidently? Or pretend like it doesn't mean anything? Most guys chalk it up to coincidence. But you're not most guys. You notice the little things. And when a woman consistently chooses the spot next to you, it's not just convenience, it's curiosity. So here's your move. Next time she's close, lean back slightly, create space, and see what she does. If she closes that gap again, even subtly, you've just confirmed something powerful. She's not just nearby. She's drawn in. There's something fascinating about human nature. Something we don't even realize we're doing until someone points it out. It's this quiet, unspoken rhythm that happens when two people connect. You've seen it before, even if you never noticed it. Imagine this. You're sitting at a table, deep in thought, tapping your fingers against your glass. Across from you, she's doing the same. You lean back in your chair, and moments later, she does too. You cross your legs, and almost like magic, she mirrors you, subtle, effortless, almost invisible if you're not looking for it. Most guys? They never notice this. They think it's coincidence. Random body language. But it's not. There was this guy, quiet, reserved, not the type to think too much about body language. He kept catching this girl at work subtly copying him. He'd lean forward, and suddenly she'd lean forward too. He'd run a hand through his hair, and seconds later, she'd tuck hers behind her ear. He thought he was imagining it. That maybe it was just some weird coincidence. But it wasn't. Mirroring is a deep subconscious signal of connection. It's rooted in psychology. We mirror people we're drawn to, people we feel safe with, people we want to understand us. It's not a conscious decision. She's not sitting there thinking, let me copy him. Her body just follows yours, because on some level, she feels aligned with you. And here's where it gets interesting. Mirroring isn't just about attraction. It's about testing resonance. It's her body's way of asking, do we flow together? And most men miss it because they're too focused on the words being said. But you're different. You pay attention. You catch the subtle cues most guys never see. So next time you notice her matching your movements, crossing her legs after you do, leaning in when you do, don't just brush it off. That's your green light. That's her body saying, I'm tuned into you. Here's your move. Shift your posture intentionally. Cross your arms loosely. Tilt your head slightly. See if she follows. And if she does, you've just unlocked one of the quietest, most powerful signs of attraction there is. You're not crazy. You're just finally seeing the dance beneath the conversation. Sometimes it's not about glances. It's not about closeness or copying body language. Sometimes it's about words, sharp words, playful ones, words that sting just enough to make you wonder, was that a joke or something more? You've been there. She laughs and says, oh, you think you're so charming, huh? Her voice dripping with sarcasm, but there's that smirk playing on her lips. You freeze. You don't know whether to laugh or back away. And here's where most guys get it wrong. They take it at face value. They think she's disinterested, that she's mocking them, so they retreat. They pull back. They think they've been rejected. But what's really happening is a test. There was this guy, Marcus. He wasn't used to sarcasm from women. When a girl teased him, he'd get defensive or worse, quiet. He thought teasing meant she didn't like him. But there was this one girl, Lily. She was relentless. Every time they talked, she'd throw little jabs, playful insults, mocking his outfits, his hair, even his terrible cooking skills. He couldn't figure her out. Was she into him, or was she just mean? What Marcus didn't realize was this. Lily was testing him. She wasn't pushing him away. She was pulling him in. That teasing? It wasn't rejection. It was attraction wearing. A disguise women tease to stir emotion, to see if you can handle their energy, to watch how you respond under pressure. It's their way of saying, are you strong enough to play with me? If you fold, if you get defensive, offended, or insecure, game over. But if you lean in, if you smile, if you tease her right back, suddenly the entire dynamic shifts. She realizes you're not afraid to meet her fire with your own. Think about it. She wouldn't waste her breath teasing a guy she has no interest in. She wouldn't invest her time or energy into playful banter if she didn't feel a spark. So next time she throws a playful jab, don't shrink back. Smile, laugh, toss one back, lightly. Show her you're not afraid of her games. Because that's exactly what it is, a game. A dance, a push and pull. The guys who get this, they win her attention without even trying. The ones who don't, they get stuck wondering, why does she always make fun of me? You won't be that guy. You'll recognize it. You'll own it. And when you do, you'll realize teasing isn't rejection. It's the invitation. There's this moment that slips right past most men. It happens in the blink of an eye. So brief, so delicate, it almost feels like nothing. But it's everything. You're in conversation. She laughs, leans slightly toward you, and her fingers graze your arm. Just a whisper of contact. So soft you wonder if it even happened at all. You pause for a second. Did she just touch me? Was that an accident? You brush it off. Tell yourself she probably didn't even notice, but she did. That kind of touch doesn't happen by mistake. Not twice. Not when it lingers just a second longer than necessary. There. Was this guy Eli? A bit awkward, quiet, always respectful to a fault. He kept finding himself in conversations with this girl, Mia, who'd touch him lightly on the arm when she laughed, or brush her hand against his when she reached for her drink. Each time, Eli would freeze. He'd pull away slightly, thinking he was invading her space. He assumed she didn't even realize what she was doing. But here's the secret: Eli didn't. See, Mia knew exactly what she was doing. Those touches weren't random. They were tests, probes, ways of building familiarity and trust without words. Ways of saying, I feel safe enough to break this invisible barrier. Touch is the oldest language in the world. It's primal, instinctual. It bypasses logic entirely. And when a woman initiates that kind of subtle touch, especially multiple times, it's her way of testing chemistry, comfort, connection. Most men miss it. Or worse, they back away from it, thinking they're being polite. But here's what you need to understand. When she touches you softly, she's not just testing her comfort with you. She's testing your comfort with her. If you flinch or pull away, she'll take it as a sign you're not interested, or worse, that you're not confident enough to handle closeness. But if you stay calm, relaxed, maybe even reciprocate later in the conversation, that's when things shift. Next time it happens, next time she grazes your arm, or rests her hand on your shoulder, or lets her fingers linger just a second too long, don't freeze. Don't retreat. Let it be. Relax into it. Smile softly. And if the moment feels right, find an opportunity later to return that subtle touch in a natural, respectful way. Because here's the truth most guys never realize. If she's finding ways to touch you, she's already decided you're someone she feels drawn to. You're not overthinking it. You're finally catching on to the secret language she's been speaking all along. Sometimes it's not about where she looks, or where she sits, or even if she touches you. Sometimes it's about something even softer, even more hidden. A voice. You've heard it happen, though maybe you never knew what it meant. Picture this. You're mid-conversation. She's laughing, talking fast, lively, and then something shifts. Suddenly, her words slow down. Her voice softens, lowers just a little. It's subtle, but you feel it. Suddenly, the air between you feels heavier. More charged. She leans in slightly and says, almost in a whisper, "So, what do you do for fun?" You freeze for a second. You wonder why her tone just changed. You tell yourself maybe she's just being polite, showing interest in the conversation. But no, this isn't about being polite. It's about intimacy. There was this guy Jason. Friendly, funny, great at making women laugh. But he kept noticing something strange. Midway through conversations, some women would suddenly speak slower, softer, almost drawing out their words. Jason thought it was just coincidence, or that they were just tired of talking loudly. But here's the truth. Women instinctively lower their voices when they feel drawn to someone. It's an ancient biological signal of softness, of closeness. She's pulling you in not with her words, but with the way she says them. It's not something she plans. It just happens. Her voice naturally drops when she's comfortable around you, when she's flirting without even realizing it. Most men don't catch it. They think it's random. They miss the moment entirely. But you are learning to hear it. When her voice softens, she's testing a different kind of boundary, the emotional one. She's creating a quiet bubble between you and her, one that no one else is invited into. And here's your move. Match her. Pace. Slow your voice down. Drop your tone slightly. Let your words linger. You'll be amazed at how quickly the atmosphere shifts, how much more magnetic the moment feels. Because here's the thing. Her voice isn't just carrying words. It's carrying intent. Most men never hear it. But you do now. There's one last sign. The most telling. The most obvious. But only if you know how to see it. It's what happens at the end, when the conversation winds down. When she's about to leave, most guys think the end of the interaction means she wasn't interested. She says, "I should get going." She stands up, and they think, well, that's that. They watch her walk away, never realizing they missed the most important moment of all. It's what she does right before she leaves that reveals everything. Picture this. You're talking to her in a cafe. The conversation's been flowing. She glances at her phone and says, "I should probably head out soon." She stands, gathers her things, but she doesn't walk away. She lingers, shifts her weight from one foot to the other, looks around the room, almost nervously. Then, right before taking a step, she turns back to you and asks, "So, do you come here often?" You freeze. You think it's just small talk, that maybe she's stalling out of politeness. But here's the truth. She doesn't want to leave. Not yet. She's giving you one last opening, one last chance to pull her back. Women do this all the time. They linger. They hesitate. They fidget. Not because they're unsure about their schedule, but because they're unsure if you want more from them. It's a moment of vulnerability, her subtle way of saying, "I'm willing to stay, but you have to make the move." There was this guy, Ryan. He always wondered why women seemed to hang around awkwardly after conversations with him. He thought maybe they were just bad at ending chats. Until one night, at a friend's house, he caught it. This girl had been talking to him all night. She stood up to leave, but kept hovering near the doorway, asking pointless questions about the music, the snacks, anything to keep talking. And that's when it hit him. She wasn't looking for excuses to go. She was hoping for a reason to stay. Here's what most guys miss. Women don't linger around men they're indifferent about. If she's standing there, fidgeting, glancing back, it's because something inside her is hoping you'll stop her, that you'll suggest a next step, that you'll make it easier for her to stay. Next time you see it, next time she hesitates, before walking away, smile. Keep it casual. Say something like, "Hey, if you've got a minute, we should keep this going sometime." You'll be stunned how often she lights up and agrees. Because sometimes, the last 5 seconds tell you more than the entire conversation. You're not guessing anymore. You're watching. You're seeing. You've learned to read the exit sign. And what it really means. Funny how quiet flirting can be, right? But now you see it clearly. When her eyes linger, she's curious. When she sits close, leans in, she's drawing near on purpose. When her body mirrors yours, her subconscious is sensed. With you. When she teases you, she's testing your confidence. When she touches you, even lightly, she's already comfortable. And when her voice softens, or she hesitates to leave, that's your cue. Your moment. You're the kind of guy who notices now. You've always had the signs in front of you. Now you know exactly what they mean.